Welcome to another episode of Down the Barrel Podcast with Jimmy and Dino.
And sometimes Jared.
All right. And we are back with the one and only Wayne LaPierre, President and CEO of the National Rifle Association.
Close. Definitely close.
Very close.
It's not Wayne LaPierre.
No.
I thought you got taller.
A little bit better looking, too.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. More manly.
Well, shit. I thought this was going to be worth my time. We got Wayne Lindquist here. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Wayne Lindquist, president of the
Woodland.
Woodland
Yeah.
chapter of MDHA out of Hill City. How you doing, Wayne?
Good to be here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
glad
it's
you
good
could
to have
make
you.
it.
Yeah, thanks for making the drive.
Yeah, and it worked out. So that way everybody's out of the woods,
Right.
You know, for the evening. So, yeah.
Because today is actually Tuesday, Veterans Day.
Yes.
We were all out hunting.
Yep,
Yeah.
we were.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service,
Absolutely.
guys.
Yes, thank you.
But yeah, so deer camp. Wayne, we know you have a deer camp, but first let's tell a little bit about yourself, and then we'll kind of get in some deer camp because you guys both were at deer camp this past weekend for opening weekend. I mean, we kind of had deer camp a little bit.
I mean, kind of, sort of. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just my house.
At
but
some point, you're just going to have to accept that that's your deer camp.
It
I mean,
really is.
It is.
It is.
I mean, I used to do the deer camp, and now the hunting where I live is actually pretty good. So
Right.
we can just hunt there because
So that's deer camp.
our deer camp, well, we're not here to talk about my quasi deer camp. We're here to talk about Wayne's deer
Right.
camp.
Wayne's deer
Because
camp.
Wayne, you have a legit deer camp. You got like a cabin, the whole deal, right?
Yeah, it's been there. I think this will be the 26th year that I've been staying there. I built it. Had some friends help me build it. I was actually living in Wisconsin, and would always come back to hunt and hunt out of my mom and dad's farm, which we still hunt some of that land. But as I got a little older, I always had to dream where this cabin sits. I used to do a lot of camping there as a kid, and I found a gentleman who's now passed away. He built homes and he built some of these cabins, and we made it out of popple. It's kind of small. It's a one-room cabin, but over the years, our deer camp has kind of. Some years it was pretty big. Some years it's just me there, and I have a friend hunter. My wife will hunt. A number of years ago, as the kids got started hunting, though, it became a full cabin, and it was great when my kids started hunting. That was probably some of the best deer population that we had in that area. That was between, probably 9 and 10, maybe even 11 years ago, where you could literally go to any stand. You know, you didn't have to sit all day with the kids, or, you could generally, if you didn't see something in the morning, you seen something in the evening. And I'm one of the lucky ones. My oldest daughter, I was in the deer stand with her in Wisconsin when she killed her first deer. And both Ruby and Levi, I was in the stand with them every deer that they killed.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
So for me, I was always a dawn to dusk type of hunter. I hunted hard. Once the kids started hunting, your hunting changes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Drastically, dramatically. And it was all about the kids for quite a number of years. And I was grateful that my kids had some awesome luck. Ruby probably took one of the biggest deer that ever came off the whole farm. And I was sitting with her. It was great.
Yeah.
But I have, over the years, I have a couple of really good friends. Sometimes they stay. I've got a gentleman, Scott McNeil, that hunts with me out of Hill City. He comes out and we kind of swap stands. He doesn't stay a lot of times with me. I've got a couple other friends that sometimes will stay. And of course, my wife, Heidi, she stayed one night. And then, of course, this year she got sick. But I generally take the majority of season off. It's hard to explain. I got hooked on deer hunting when I was about 12 years old. My dad had stopped hunting, went through hunter safety in school.
Yep.
We shot on the football field, for your practice the night before deer season. So everybody got their permits the night before season, and we all went down and bought our deer licenses. kind of mayhem, but it worked out. And I was lucky enough to shoot a small buck my first year, and I was hooked ever since. I've shot a lot of small bucks and have been grateful to shoot a few pretty good sized bucks also. It's just how I recharge my batteries. I love sitting. I love staying at the cabin. My wife, it's kind of funny. One of the first years we were dating, we hadn't even, she was still living up here and I was living in Wisconsin, and I came up for my annual week or two hunt, and she came down to the farm for supper with the kids and my mom and dad's, and I think I'd shot a deer. And she made the comment, she said, well, now you can.
Now you're done.
Now you're done. You can. And my mom, she kind of laughed and she said, you have a lot to learn about Wayne. My dad had a tag. My brother had a tag, and I'm thankful that in Minnesota that we can party hunt, because there are a lot of states that you can't do that. I was lucky enough this year. I took a shot at a smaller buck. Lucky opening weekend, we had a bunch of hunters. My brother came up from Chicago. He brought his oldest boy that has never hunted before. His youngest boy has hunted, but he's living in the Twin Cities, and he decided he wanted to try it. So we had some extra tags in there. They were there at the farm, and of course, me and friend and Heidi were at deer camp. So he got the experience. Lucky enough, he was there, so he did tag the deer that I shot. So I can still be in the woods alone, which that's great, because I know a lot of people that a lot of times if they don't have a deer camp or a party to hunt with, they pull the trigger and they're done.
Right.
And for me, that would be devastating, or I would sit and wait for a monster, because I wouldn't want to be done. I just enjoy sitting, and I really do. But yeah, like you'd mentioned earlier, about 4 years ago, I did take over as president of the Woodland chapter of Minnesota Deer Hunters, become greatly involved. My wife, obviously, she works with Dean and Jim and Jared at the state office. Her and a few others probably pushed me into doing this, but it's been very rewarding. The community down there has been very accepting of what we do, and very supportive. We try to give back locally as much as we can. I've got a super vice president, John McManical, who he does it all by himself for the most part. He's got hides, habitat boxes out all over the place. And it's great having a vice president that's retired.
Right.
I work shift work, so there's a lot of things, when they work everything around my schedule, and sometimes that's bad, but it also is invigorating to see the changes that we've made and the support that we've got. And it's like any other organization. I'm a firm believer that if the same people are in the same positions long term, you stagnate. There's got to be new ideas, and even myself, it's great the few people that we have that are really willing to give time. And every year it seems like we get a few people that are willing to step up, and a few people drop off. But it's you guys are all involved. You know what it takes. I mean, it's overwhelming the amount of time that people have to put in to do this. But it's been a great road, and hopefully, like I said, this is, for me, deer camp, I think it's the 26th year that my cabin has been there.
Wow.
Every year older I get, it gets a little harder. Even today, I was cutting up deer. I took the evening off. I can remember 20 years ago, you'd hunt all night and you'd run around to all the deer camps and look and see what was going on, and you can cut up deer until the middle of the night and still make it out to your stand in the morning. I can't do that anymore. I need to take part of a day off.
Right. And your camp is pretty primitive, right?
Yes, it's a when you drive up, it's a decent, it's small one room cabin, but there's an outhouse there. There's no running water. There's no electricity. So I have gas lanterns. We carry water in. I got a wood stove. friend of mine that hunts with me, Scott from Hill City, he was kind enough to help me this year. I found a wall mount propane heater that I bought at L&M, great sponsor from MDHA. They were running a special on them, so now I can actually leave where I don't have to worry about building the fire up. I can just leave that on real low, and the cabin's not frozen when I come back. So very minimal amount of money, and it's great. Propane's a great thing.
Yep. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, it makes it easy. So Wayne, you said the best hunting at your camp was what, 8, 9, 10 years ago?
It really, and I can't remember. It was things started changing. We've had, I can remember over the years, and if you looked at the walls in my cabin, there's a lot of deer horns in there. We had over the years 2 different strains of deer. A strain that didn't have any eye guards. We had real spindly racks. And then I believe it was the winter of 95. There was an awful winter, and I think that was one of the years where the DNR came forward and allowed people to feed, because the deer herd was would have been decimated. So something happened that year, and for the next 4 or 5 years, we pulled in a different strain of animal, and the genetics changed, and you can still see those strains of deers from years ago, but there's a different strain there. We have some bigger bodied animals, some bigger racks running around. And that really, to me, was the starting point of it. But it was 9 or 10 years ago, and we had a great doe population there. Like I said, you could drive around the Hill City area anywhere, any field, in any night of the year, especially in the fall. There were deer in every field, and numerous. You go down Spang Road, there was a few fields there that the farmers took care of very well. I mean, you'd see 50, 60 deer on the fields. I mean, you drive around in those same fields, and of course, all these farmers are getting older. They don't put in the time on the crops like they used to. Even myself, you do some food plots, and even just getting where I'm at there, the fields paid. Everybody that's doing that, they're getting older. The gentleman that was doing ours, he wants to retire. So, I mean, in those fields, they'll grow up into brush in 3 years if you don't hay them. But that, we enjoyed, and of course, about that time frame, probably 20 years ago, I had shot a lot of small bucks in my life, and we had that deer population, and I just made the decision that I was not going to shoot small bucks. And we did that for a few years, and a lot of the neighbors were doing the same thing. And all of a sudden, you were shooting 3-year-old or 5-year-old or 6-year-old deer, and they weren't all huge, but we were seeing those deer every year. And there again, as the kids started hunting, we did let the kids their first year, if they wanted to shoot a doe. I'm a firm believer, and I've had friends and kids come hunting with me. Even, I know in a lot of deer camps, a lot of people, they want the kids sit all day long and make it rough and miserable. They got to earn their stripes. Well, in this day and age, we have so few hunters now, and to get these kids involved, you have to make it fun. And it's just like a basketball team or a football team. If you're going to ride the bench and never get to experience, shooting an animal, the field dressing of an animal, the cutting up of an animal, and those type of things, it loses its allure. You have to have success, and you have to let them get that under their belt, and then you let them make the decision. I know perfect experience was Ruby, my daughter. That year she shot her biggest buck. We sat on the field together, and it was a miserable year. The wind, we sat out on the field. This was before I had my redneck hunting blind. So we were sitting out there in the wind in the open, and there was a lot of times where, I'd have my jacket around her and she'd have her head buried in my chest to stay warm. But she, and that's another thing, when she killed her first buck, it was on the youth hunt. I know there's a lot of debates on this youth hunt, and a lot of people, a lot of seasoned hunters don't like it. For me, that's the most important thing that this state did.
Yeah.
It's getting those kids out there when it's not miserable.
Right.
It's not, super cold. They get a chance to sit and see deer before they're spooked. It was great. The first buck that she shot, we watched 2 bucks out in the field behind my mom's for almost an hour before she took the shot and killed her. I think it was a 6-pointer. But that year that she shot her biggest one, I can remember sitting in the stand with her, and it was numerous hunts before that one. We were sitting there, and we'd have does or we'd have fawns out in front of us. And I told her, I said, if you want to, I'll let you take one, just, because I know basketball start. And she made the decision on her own. It's just like all of us as hunters, sooner or later, sometimes just knowing you could kill that deer is just as good as killing them. Yep. Sometimes, the second buck that I saw this year, at 50 yards, I had him dead to rights. I already had one to cut up. I didn't feel like cutting another one up unless it was a big one. But that was just as good as the one that I shot this year, because I knew I had them.
Right.
So that's important for our youth to make those decisions too. And it's awesome when they do, and it's awesome when it works out, because that year she passed, I think, 4 or 5 times. And then it was a really nice 10-pointer she shot.
Wow.
And so proud dad moment.
Yeah, and you got that one mounted, right?
Yes.
I was thinking that you did shoulder mount on that.
Yes,
one.
Elitch mounted it for us, and we when she shot it, it was one of those moments where there was a lot of hugging and high-fiving and crying, and we walked up to the deer, and she was pretty excited. I was pretty excited, and it's one of those deer that didn't have any ground shrinkage. When it was a 200. It was out in the field. It was 200 yards away, and we got up to it, and I remember her kneeling down, and the one picture that we have of her, she's all grin, and it was great. And she looked up at me and she said, "So did I earn a spot on the cabin wall, Dad?" Yeah, you did. You did. So. Yeah, that's like I said, over the years, we've had a lot of success, friends, and I'm not one of those guys that I don't put any restrictions on the guys that come and hunting with me. I tell them it has to have horns, but I'm, if that's a trophy to you, that's a trophy. If you're hunting for meat, I want it to have horns at my camp. But but other than that, I've had people shoot some really nice ones, and I've had some guys shoot some small ones, and they're all fun because it's all about the time spent together.
Right.
Absolutely. Right.
I remember, and my dad's been gone now quite a few years, but I remember the last buck that my dad shot. That was before cell phones. I think we had walkie-talkies, so if we heard somebody shoot, you'd turn them on. And I remember my dad being pretty shook up, and I had a good friend of mine that used to come for deer camp, and he said that he'd walked over and got it, but he was in his 70s at that time, mid-70s, and probably one of the last years he climbed into a deer stand that was off the ground, and I walked over to my friend where he was sitting, and I said, I think we need to go help Dad out. And so the three of us, we gutted it out and pulled it out. And that was, it was nice to see somebody in their 70s. It wasn't a huge buck, but, he was still excited.
Yeah.
And that's the tough thing for me. I remember when I started hunting, I pushed my dad to hunt. It was a passion for me. It's an outright passion. I love the woods. I love deer hunting. And over the years, like I said, my hunting camp has gotten big, and then it's gotten small, and the kids started hunting. It was bigger, and now the kids, Ruby's in California.
Right.
Levi's kind of got it out of his system, and my oldest daughter, she lives in Waterloo, Illinois. So I don't have anybody here to push me. And my wife doesn't push me. She's a fair weather hunter, and she gets the redneck blind where it's nice and warm.
Right.
So there are years and there are days where it's hard to get going, especially if I'm there by myself. But it's still deer camp. It's not the same as it once was, but I think tomorrow night I have a good friend of mine from Jacobson. He's coming, and there'll be 3 of us there for a few days.
Cool.
And hopefully we have some success.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's great. You get to take the time off to do that.
Yeah. No
Right.
doubt.
That's over the years. That's been, I think, in 30. So I started hunting when I was 12. And of course, when I was in high school, they always made sure we had Mondays off
Yep.
or teachers' conferences. And as I got a little older, my mom, she always told me, she's, I'm not writing you a note because you're not sick, but if you want to take off, you can take it off. And now I'm lucky enough that where I work 12-hour shifts, and I have enough vacation built up that everybody knows our schedule comes out in January, and usually by the end of January, I circle most of deer season off. That's my vacation.
Yeah.
There you
That's my
go.
vacation.
Wayne's got November off, so
Yeah,
don't even
you
count
bet.
on him to be at work. Yep.
You bet.
Yeah,
You
that's
bet.
nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I've been out to your shack and stuff, and it's not a shack. It's pretty nice. I'll give it that. So no, and nice property and everything, and you border quite a bit of land too, right?
Yeah, there's behind me. I mean, most of that road frontage, I think just south of my cabin, there's a 40 that's Blandon. But the rest of that road is all private all the way to the county line.
Okay.
But behind me, that starts, it's thousands of acres of Blandon land. And it's grown up now. It's years ago, it was easy to hunt. It's been logged numerous times, but now it's perfect deer habitat for them to hide. It's 30-foot tall spruce and brush, and it's almost, for me, it's great.
Yeah.
Other than nobody's in there pushing the deer out.
True. Right. Yep.
Right.
But yeah, there's some great deer hunting down there. I've had numerous people, friends and family alike. Family, of course, it's a little different. I do most of the maintenance on the deer stands, and I do the food plots, and I mow the trails, and my brother mows his across the road. But, I've had numerous people from town. Scott, the gentleman that does hunt with me now, he helps out quite a bit, and he'd do anything for me. But I've had numerous people, they know that I shoot deer. Actually, Scott and I were just talking about that the other day. I think the last dry year I had was 1984. and then,
Were you guys alive then?
No.
Yes. Yes, I was.
but I've had people, and even my wife or some of my friends, they'll say, "Well, you're lucky." And a couple of the guys that I hunt with, they'll tell you there's no luck involved. I've never been lucky when it comes to deer hunting. I'm stubborn. Ask my wife. I'm stubborn, and I put a lot of hours in to get the chances.
Yeah, you put the time in.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people don't do anymore.
Right. Well, it's hard. I think it's harder.
It is harder to
nowadays
put the time
than
in.
it was in the 80s. I mean, I remember I was younger in the 80s, obviously, but those were the good old days to me. Was the 80s with all the camps and stuff, and that's when I couldn't even hunt then. But yeah.
Well, even where my cabin is at, and it was, I think the cabin was on private property, but it was right next to Blandon land. There was a group, and actually a couple of them have retired in the Hill City area, but there was a huge hunting camp, and that's probably where I drank my first beer. Thanks, Bruce, Mel.
Hunting camp's good for that.
Yeah, but there used to be, I don't know, there was probably, when I was in high school, there was 4 or 5 hunting camps, and I think, I didn't know until I was probably in my late teens. It started out because I remember years ago, when I was a kid, you'd always hear about camp. You got one for camp meat.
Yep.
Well, I think some of those deer camps years ago, I think they continue that tradition, but I didn't know until I was probably a little older that you couldn't have camp meat anymore. You had to have you had to wait till opening morning. But it was kind of fun, and again, like I said before, I was younger. It was a lot easier. You'd run around to all these deer camps, and everybody had a meat pole.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
That's the one thing I remember when you pulled up, you
were
always,
looking.
you shined the meat pole to see what they had hanging. And some years were pretty lean. And I can actually remember one year, I can't remember what year it was, they actually shut season down.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
because we've had some years where even where I'm at, I think it's been, and like I said, I spend a lot of time in the woods, but in the last 5 years, all my years of hunting, I've seen wolves and coyotes on the field and coyotes from my deer stand. But in the last 5 years, that's the first time I've seen wolves from a deer stand.
Right.
And now they kind of come and go. But the other thing that I've noticed with our coyote / wolf population, our deer herd has cohabitated with them from the dawn of time.
Right.
But I think our wolves and our coyotes are also cohabitating now because I've seen them 10 minutes apart.
Right.
Where when I was a kid, you heard the coyotes all fall long, all summer long, winter, the town whistle would go off and they would answer in the middle of the day. But when there was a couple of wolf packs, and they were big packs, but they didn't live in our area. But when they would come through, you would not see a deer track for anywhere from 3 days to a week. You did not hear the coyotes howl because they knew better.
Yeah.
Those wolves would come in, they would probably take a deer or two, and then they would move on. Now they live there.
Yep.
Right.
And they live in small groups. They don't, I don't know. I know a few people in the DNR. I know there's some big packs around, but there are so many small groups, even in my area, where, there's 2 or 3 or there's 4 or 5 and they people see them all the time.
Right.
They're just there. They never leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we have Jared to blame for that, don't we?
Yeah. Well, that's what I hear.
That's what I hear too.
Ever since,
I do raise them in captivity.
Right. Yeah.
Release them into the wild.
Yeah. Since you came from Colorado, that's when the wolves came. They weren't here until you got here.
Right. But they also weren't in Colorado until I left there.
There's a pattern.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's mathematics. I don't know if I can figure, but
It's weird.
I just know we should probably blame.
I think we should blame Jared for sure.
Yeah, it's fair enough. That's what my wife does. True story.
So you had deer camp, Jared, this past weekend,
I did.
and were successful.
Yes. Yeah. It was a good weekend. I ended up, tagging a 9 point. Saw a lot of deer. It was cold. They were up. They were moving.
Yeah.
Where I was actually a 2 deer zone. I didn't see a single doe the entire time I was there. Yeah. I saw probably 15 deer, all bucks.
That's crazy.
And I would say half to 60% all had half their rack broken off. So I don't know if there's just some monster out there just beating the hell out of them or what, but yeah, it was, anyways, it was a good weekend,
Yeah.
Right.
Had a lot of deer coming through, passed on quite a few. And then this guy came in and
he did it for you.
Yeah, I was hoping to see, we had a drop time on camera.
Yeah.
That was my target, but I wasn't about to pass this one.
Heck no. Nope.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good hunt, down there with my dad and my mom. And that's the only one we've taken so far. They're still there. So fingers crossed for them.
Right.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can maybe get lucky and get that drop time.
Right. But yeah, our deer camp doesn't sound as, I don't want to say as cool, because I think my deer camp is cool.
It is cool.
It is
Pretty cool. But it's not like the, traditional
right
cabin in the woods.
No electricity, gas lights kind of thing.
Right.
That's when I was growing up, that was the deer camp, was that.
Yeah.
There was guys in friggin' train cars out in the woods.
Right.
That was the deer camp.
You walk into the shack and it just smells like farts. Beer,
that's still beer.
That's
Chili.
Right? That's my camper, but yeah.
But no, so our deer camp is, it's still where my grandparents live.
Right.
They moved up there from the cities. I couldn't tell you what year, but late 80s, probably late 80s. And built a house. And my grandpa was a siding guy. He would put siding on houses.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had this he had this piece of land, and out in this field had a garage, small garage thing that was just full of scrap metal and siding and whatever he needed to do his work. And the field was just overgrown. I mean, there were cars like buried into the hillside and stuff. And as they got older, my parents ended up taking over the property and did a whole bunch of work to, clear out the field, get all the scrap metal out of there. We still, after a heavy rain, we still find bits and pieces, but it's in pretty good shape. And they restored this garage, cleared out. I mean, it used to be you'd open the door and you'd just hit the ground so you didn't get bit by a bat. But they cleared it all out and, refurbished everything, insulated it, put a wood burning stove out there, and it's kind of our deer shack now. And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah.
Actually, I remembered something now, that the big hunting shack that I was talking about that was over in Blandon. When I built my cabin, I wanted a flat top wood stove so I could heat water on. That hunting shack, the land was sold, and the owner of the property, I went over there and told him, I said, I wonder what that group, and of course those guys are retired now, and the second stove is in the place that this gentleman retired, but the stove that I have in my cabin, it's an old Fisher wood stove, and the gentleman that bought that property, he just tipped that out into the woods and he wasn't going to use it. And I contacted the gentleman that bought it, and myself and 4 or 5 guys, we threw it in a 4-wheeler trailer and sanded it up. And so that stove that's in my cabin, that I can remember that back when I was, 15 years old. That was what they used to heat that deer
that's
camp.
pretty cool.
That thing's been around for some stories.
Right?
Right. That's awesome.
No doubt. All right. So you shot a buck too, right, Wayne?
Yeah,
A
it was
smaller one?
Yeah, a smaller 6-pointer.
Right.
And I probably years ago would have passed on that deer, but the older I get now, it's a little easier. I mean, I don't want to ruin my streak, first of all.
There you go.
But-
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
But we also we like to eat venison.
Right.
Right.
So over the years, it was a little easier. I was probably the selective one. My dad would shoot anything. And as he got older, he did shoot some does, but he generally tried to hold out for a buck too. But he would shoot anything, and my brother would, and some of the other guys we had at deer camp. I was the guy that was holding out because we usually always had meat. But there again, sometimes when it came down to it at the end of season, if we and I was the one that put the time in, so I would generally have my chances. There was a few years where we waited a little too late and then ended up taking something, spike or a fork. But I don't have a problem with that.
Well, no.
Where I hunt, I would rather see everybody around me shoot small bucks rather than shoot the does. I just would. That's those bucks are far and few between. But like Jared was commenting, the last few years where I've been at. Our population of bucks, and I know guys, I quit putting cameras out years ago because I just get frustrated with them. But yeah, this year's a little different. The last few years, even on my mom's field behind the house there, I mean, it seemed like you'd see a doe or a fawn once in a while, but most everything you saw had some type of horn on it, which that's great.
Yeah.
But I don't know what dynamic has changed there, because we used to always have different groups of does that you would always see, and we just don't have the population like we did. We just don't.
Right.
And in your place, we have seen tons of does over the years.
Well, yeah, I have
very few
where we
bucks.
hunt. Yeah, honestly, there's been a decent population of bucks in the last couple of years, but I've always had a great population of does.
Yeah.
So where we are, we can actually take up to 4 does.
Oh wow!
Yeah, right.
So
The
it's the city hunt.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, there's an abundance of does. So I actually encourage people that hunt at my place, if you want
If you want a doe,
please take a good doe.
Yeah.
Because there are so many of them. and it does help the population. It helped to make it a little more healthy where we are. So, but there is bucks too. And I mean, this weekend we saw a mix of everything, but surprisingly, there was a bunch of does. And my son, who's 15, got to take a really nice buck. It was a really nice 6-point. So that was fun. That was probably one of my favorite hunts in my life so far, is to sit with him and watch him take that deer. It was awesome. So
yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was a good time.
Oh, I can't wait to watch my kids.
It's crazy. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I almost freaking cried. I mean, and he shot a buck before. He shot 2 deer before. You know, he in the youth season.
Right.
But this one, it was just one of those hunts where we're sitting there. It's 3:30 in the afternoon, and this buck steps out like 50 yards and does exactly what you wanted to do. It looked at us, and I was like, "Oh man, I screwed the pooch on this one." But no, it turned broadside, and I'm like, "Take him when you got a good shot." And he did a perfect shot, heart shot, lung shot, and it didn't go 40, 50 yards. Yeah, it was just perfect. Everything about that hunt was perfect, and I've never been that lucky, and I was just glad he got to be that lucky. And it's a 6-point, but it was a nice 6-point.
Yeah,
real wide.
It was very wide.
Yeah,
you know, like you sent the picture, and I started feeling bad for myself. That's a big deer. And I started counting the points, and I was like, how is that only a 6-point?
Well, it was almost, I mean, it had a couple other ones starting. So, I mean, but they weren't big enough to put a ring on. But it was a big 6-point. Yeah. And it was honestly the biggest deer that I had on camera to that point. It's funny because he took that deer, and that night on camera, we have a much bigger deer now.
That's how it works, though, right?
It's like, he moved right in.
Party hunting is so great.
Right. Well, I still have, I mean, we have all kinds of tags there.
We still do.
I mean, abundance of them.
Yeah. So. Aiden was not successful this weekend. So
he had some chances.
We had some chances. We had 7 deer run by us, 6 deer run by us, and none of them stopped. I mean, I think there was 5 doe and 1 spike, and it's like, there's deer. Oh my God, there's another deer. And then they just keep coming by.
You gotta do your duck call.
Come here, deer. And, maybe that's what got him to come by. Actually, I think I actually did do that call later in the evening, and Aiden just looks at me like, are you really for real, Dad? And, but anyways, these deer just come running by, and we're in a ground blind that we just set up that afternoon. They had no idea we were there, but the grass was tall. So trying to get them maneuvered and see around. And then, so we didn't get a shot on those. And then maybe an hour later, this doe comes right at us. Perfect. She followed the trail like she was supposed to, but the grass was she was smaller doe, and the grass was just too tall, and he couldn't get on it. And he was trying to get on it and get on it. I go, are you on it? And he goes, I can see her head, but I don't know where her body is. I go, that's fine. If you don't have a good shot, then don't take it. You know, I mean, there's plenty of time. There's plenty of deer. If you don't have a good shot, don't take it. Okay. So he didn't take it. She ended up scooting away, and it's like, which is perfectly fine. I'd rather him take a good shot than just spray and pray and, wound a deer, and then we don't find it or anything like that. So, so we didn't see one that night, but, getting back to even the youth season, having the kids hunt in warm weather, or nicer weather, I should say. It's not always warm, but it has been recently.
It's been decent.
Yeah. And so we hunted youth season, and then Saturday was cooler, cold.
Oh,
we had
Saturday,
the heater.
That was perfect.
Yeah. And we're in the ground blind. It was windy, and turned the heater on. And so he got to experience a little, I mean, obviously it wasn't the way we've all hunted, 30 below. You got a foot of snow on you and everything, just freezing your ass off. But we turned the heater on, and so he could stay warm, and he was kind of getting to that point to where definitely uncomfortable, but he got to experience that and not seeing deer and whatnot. So and then Sunday we didn't see very much either, but
there was a few, but
there's a few.
There wasn't any great shots.
No, but at least he knows the difference as to take a bad shot, good shot. So
that's so important.
Yeah, and he got a deer last year, so we're hoping to get one this year. I mean, we still have a lot of season left.
Yeah, that's
so we're gonna get one. Yeah, we're gonna give it a whirl, and he, as long as he can keep seeing deer, and he still wants to go out, that's obviously what we all want.
Yeah, I love seeing the excitement in those kids to go deer hunting, because that's to anymore, it seems to be rare.
Right.
I mean, that they want to get out and go. And every time they're like, yeah, I want to go hunting. Like when Aiden or Rowan says, and you can tell when they want to go, I'm like, absolutely, you guys can go. You can tell me where you want to go and you can go.
Yeah.
I mean, because I want to see you guys out there because we're getting older.
Yeah. Well, and he wants to go every evening. He goes, oh, can we go Wednesday? I go, dude, you got basketball practice. Basketball ends at 5:00. Shooting light ends at 5:15.
What's more important?
I know. They were having that conversation the other day, and Aiden's like, I got basketball practice. I'm like, so?
Yeah. Do you play for the Timberwolves? Because
well, it just might so happen after this weekend, if we don't see much or he doesn't get a shot on one, there might be a few sick days called into school.
Exactly.
Especially the last weekend, like Friday.
Right.
He ain't going to school.
Right. And if you are fortunate to have enough to have PTO, sick time, whatever, this is the time to take it.
Use it up.
And
get
if
in
you
the
need
woods.
a doctor's note, I am not a doctor, but I can forge signatures.
Your signature looks like a doctor. You should have
Right?
been.
I
Mine
can
too.
scribble on paper.
Right.
So reach out to me. I'll write you a note. You know, this guy, this kid, they cannot be at school. They cannot be at work.
Right.
They need some, what do they call it? Nature bathing. What do they call it? Forest bathing.
Forest bathing. I don't know if I've ever heard that.
I don't know if
Apparently the hippie doctors write prescriptions for forest bathing.
I didn't know that proctologist Missouri can write a forest bathing note.
You just sign a TOS, time on stand.
There you
Right.
go.
Yeah.
I mean, this is northern Minnesota, for God's sake.
Right.
Everybody knows.
Right.
Like right now, I've had to tell a few people, I'm hunting. It's hunting season. They're like, oh, okay. I totally get it. Understand. Yeah. When you're done hunting,
Right.
get back to me or something like that.
Yeah.
It's
Like I've got this phone call I've been trying to have for a week now. Wow. What day is it? Tuesday. So half a week now.
Yeah.
And both of us are just like, is now a good time? Like, no, there's a doe coming through. and then he's like, all right, I'll try later. And then I text him like, now a good time? No, it's prime time. It's like,
Although
all right, we'll check in later.
Although, you know, we work for MDHA and we have to work during hunting.
Right.
We got to get that
right.
changed.
In my wife's defense, she did call in sick on Monday, but she was sick. She was sick. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
hey, is she sick now?
I think she said she's coming to work tomorrow.
Okay,
She's
tell her to call in sick.
Right.
Get out. She has a brand new crossbow, right?
Right.
I still haven't put the scope on it.
You got time tonight,
Right.
Oh, man. But no, not to, bring all the attention back to me, but let's talk more about my hunt.
Yes.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I want to hear about it.
Yes.
But no, I just, we were talking about, like the ethical kills and, not taking the shot you're confident in and everything. And I did everything, like I was super confident in the shot. It was about 55 yards. I was using a Henry 357 lever
Beautiful
action
gun.
iron sights. Love that gun. Absolutely love that gun. I have not shot it a whole lot recently, right? So I'm not feeling super confident, but this buck's coming through and he starts walking away from me. So I hit him with the, and he turned hard, right? So he's quartering to me and I lined it up. I took the shot and he did the back arch, right? Yeah. Like it was a good hit in my mind, right? And then he starts to run. And so I shot again, just, like a
wing in a prayer.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But like he stopped right before I shot. So I think I shot in front of him. And then he just started kind of walking off into the trees, got to like behind this big tree, but I could still see his antlers. And he's standing there and he's kind of doing the death wobble.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just praying, like, just drop, lay down. And he didn't do that. And I can't remember what I had. I went to grab my binos out of the bag. And so I turned to grab the binos and I looked back up and he's gone. And I was like, well, maybe he's down there. Maybe he ran. I don't know. And so I just started having all the doubts, like bad shot, hit him in the guts, whatever. So I gave him some time. Went back to where my dad was hunting, grabbed him, kind of talked it out, like how long should we give him? And we waited for a bit. Both went to the bathroom, that kind of stuff. That's a necessity.
Mhm.
And then we decided to go start looking. And we started right where I had seen him do the wobble. And there was blood there, a significant amount of blood. So I'm feeling super optimistic. We start trailing this thing. And then we come across a bloody piece of corn. And I was like, shit, I hit him in the guts. Not that we're feeding him, but there's ag around. And so,
Yeah.
but just this corn kernel covered in blood. And I was like, not a good shot. Keep following the blood trail. And then it just ends right at this pool of blood that's just full of bubbles, like big bubbles.
Right.
And I was like, great, that's a long shot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
But there's no blood. And so there's 3 different game trails that leave from that point. So we start walking them. We're not finding anything. And I was like, well, let's go back to the last blood and reassess. So we're talking there, and I'm like, just my heart is in my stomach at this point. I think I'm going to lose this deer. And then I get down to ground level right at that last blood, and I find 2 tiny, tiny little specks heading off in this random direction towards the thick woods. And I was like, well, let's just walk that way. And like 10 steps, maybe 15 steps, he's laying right there.
Nice.
And it is just like the best feeling I've ever had.
It always is when you
Like
see him on the
When you
ground.
finally find it, and it's laying there, it's dead, and it's
It's a beautiful thing.
right.
I mean, I sent you the picture of my son's deer laying on the ground. I was like, I seen it when I walked over to it. I was like, I'm taking a picture of this. That is beautiful.
Yep.
There he is, right there,
Just that antler just glowing.
out of the grass. You're like,
Uh-huh.
yes.
I feel like we've said this so many times on this podcast, but it's that Christmas vacation, Christmas tree moment.
Right.
Like the sun is just shining down on those antlers.
hmm
There's nothing like it.
Yeah, it's a great
That's
feeling.
cool. So where'd you end up hitting him?
It was
it a good shot?
It was a perfect shot.
Yeah.
But he was quartering towards me.
So it
And
went back through.
So he hit liver and some stomach, and threw some corn out. But yeah, I mean, it was right in the vital V.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good. So the 357 went right straight through it.
It did. I was surprised it passed through.
I know, because that 243 didn't even on my son's deer.
No.
I mean, we felt it on the outside. It didn't go through the skin on the other side.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, and it had a pretty big exit wound.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No doubt.
Never would have thought.
I know.
So, Wayne, what were you hunting with caliber wise?
I've hunted with a 7 mag for years.
Mhm.
It's a bolt action. It's my trusty gun, but I did have my first set with a gun that I bought from MDHA. I haven't shot it at a deer yet, but that's going to be my field gun. It's a 300 mag, and I put a nice scope on it. And in my old age, and I had the 2 guns out at deer camp at the cabin the other day, and my friend and I were looking. That 7 mag, it's a Remington 700, but it's 30 years old, and you put those 2 scope, and that's a nice scope.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good scope, but man, the scopes of today are so much different.
Yeah.
The clarity, because I'm close, I'm blind. I can see far away, but to look at my phone, I need my glasses. But looking at through those 2 scopes on the field by the cabin, they're night and day, unbelievable.
Yep.
And talking about phones, that's another thing. A lot of the people, especially my kids, when they started hunting, of course, nowadays kids all have phones. My kids' biggest concerns were, how am I going to charge my phone? and it's funny because when, especially with Ruby, when I hunted with her, she already had a cell phone, and she would pull it out once in a while, and I told her, I said, well, we both can't have our phone in our hands at the same time.
Yep.
And that is the cell phone is a dangerous thing, because you want to text your buddies and see who's seeing deer, and if you're looking at that phone, and I will be the first one to admit, in the last 2 years, even my wife, texting me constantly. Pretty soon I have to tell her I'm shutting my phone off and putting it in my pocket because, some of the deer that I've shot and some of the deer that I've seen, especially where I like to sit, I mean, sometimes you have that 3 to 5 second window. And if you're looking at your cell phone, you may never see them.
Right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. We have with Aiden, when we're sitting with him, it's like, okay, buddy, we both can't be on our phone at the same time. So you need to put yours away so I can at least look at mine. You need to look for deer because you're the first one that's going to get a shot. So let me look at mine and whatnot. So it's phones. And I think we've all had that to where you're looking at it, for like a minute or two, and then 20 minutes go by and you look up and like, oh my God, there's a deer there. How did that come from? So,
I need to tell this story because why not?
Why not?
Right?
Why not?
Why not publicly shame my own father?
Let's do this.
Yes.
All right. So I'm sitting out in my stand.
Sorry, Joe.
My mom's sitting from her vantage point and my dad's out in his. And I had already gotten my buck at this point. So I'm looking for a doe or, trying to, let pass on a buck that will hopefully go to my dad. And we're all looking for this drop time that we've had on camera. And I get a text from my mom that says, your dad just went to the shitter. Tell him there's a big buck in front of his stand. And she has a great vantage point of the shitter. And so I text my dad and I was like, drop time just passed me. He's working his way around.
You are evil.
Right in front of your stand. Like he'll be there in like 30 seconds, which by the way, that is illegal to do.
It is.
Right. Yeah. So I wouldn't actually do that.
Practical joke wise, I think it's perfectly okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's fine if it's a prank.
Yeah.
And so my mom has her phone with her camera out, and there's just this, I'll show you after we record here. And there's this brilliant picture of the shitter door
opening,
cracking and my dad peeking out. The next picture is my dad coming out of the shitter with his gun.
I was going to ask. Yep.
And then crouching behind a tree, just waiting to see this deer.
Was his pants up?
I was going to ask that too.
His pants were up by the time she got the second photo, but apparently had she taken it a few seconds earlier, they would have been at his ankles.
That is awesome.
Right? It was
that is probably mean, but it's awesome.
It's pretty hilarious. And now whenever my dad calls me, there's a picture of him peeking out the shitter that pops up on my phone.
There's that image that's on t-shirts and graphics all the time of a guy, sitting behind a tree, his gun's here and a big buck walking
right
by.
Right.
We need to do one of a guy coming out of an outhouse,
right?
Grabbing his gun and
pants around his ankles.
Yep,
right.
Yep.
Big bucko by his stand. Yeah,
and then the
I
bubble.
Think that was
right
an old Henry ad.
I think
it was.
Yep.
Yeah,
and then the bubble above says, "Hey, Joe, gotcha."
Just a squirrel.
And then the best part is it's old drop time too.
Yeah,
right.
He came back.
He did.
He came back.
Right. I thought we saw him out on the wall here.
We did. I don't know where he went, but no, that's funny.
Mean but funny.
Yep.
Yeah.
He'll get you back.
Oh, he already has.
We could probably have like a whole nother episode of just deer camp funny prank stories all time.
I mean, we could ask people right now, if you're listening and you got a prank story, let us know. Share it with us.
Or just a great deer camp story of anything.
Right.
I mean, especially people shitting in the woods. Anything like that.
I mean, that's a common one.
I'll not go hunting until I use the outhouse.
Right.
I don't do that anymore.
It's not safe. No.
But we've had numerous stories before I had the cabin at the house, and then at deer camp, I've got some horseshoes, hooks on two of the beams outside on the porch of my cabin, and we've made it a standing rule that somebody's gun, if we come in for lunch, is hanging there with, it's loaded, because we've actually had 4 or 5 occurrences. Most of them were does, but we've had 2 or 3 occurrences where. And we learned our lesson a couple times because there was no gun out and a buck come across. And by the time you're scrambling for guns and shells, and it's just total mayhem. So when the rut is on, anything can happen anywhere.
Right.
It can happen.
Yeah. Speaking of rut, seems kind of hasn't been in more. I mean, the pictures that I've seen, I think the rut's on right now.
I think it is too.
I mean, we heard reports last week that they said it was on maybe in certain parts, but I don't know. I think
it's just really getting going this week.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to warm up, which sucks. So I think it's going to slow it down a little bit. But
yeah.
But that last weekend might be really good, depending on the weather, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, Saturday was awesome.
Saturday was great, and the weather was awesome. Snowing. That was the one thing even Aiden commented on. He thought it was so cool. We're sitting in this ground blind, and it's snowing.
Oh, that's always my favorite.
He thought that was just
always
awesome.
my favorite.
I don't know how many pictures he took and videos of it with his phone and whatnot, but he thought that was the best thing ever.
Big snowflakes.
Yeah, it was
just
beautiful.
So quiet.
That's exactly what you want it to be.
Exactly.
Right. Yep.
Sitting in the trees, snowing.
Scope covered with snow.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Usually, hopefully you see it before you pull up to shoot.
Yep.
So if we're doing a series of this, Wayne, what is, if you had to pin down, one or two traditions of deer camp, what would your tradition be?
Tradition. My wife and I, we like to play poker at deer camp. That's one. Her and I, and of course
strip
the kids.
poker.
Yeah. Well, Ruby.
I realize now I said that right as you said, and the kids.
Well, Ruby, one of the first years all the kids were there. We broke out. We were all playing a little bit of poker, and the kids, it was time to go to bed. And she's like, "I know what you guys are going to do. You're going to play naked poker."
Naked poker.
That's one of the traditions. If we get a deer, and of course my brother's son hasn't done this before, so the one that I shot, he'd never had tenderloin, so I didn't cook that up for him. I had my mom cook it up for him and my brother down at the farm, but I had cleaned up the heart. My mom years ago, and I always thought she liked it, but she really doesn't. She did it for my dad and myself. My mom used to take the heart and boil it. And so it was real tender, and we would slice it up for lunch meat.
Yeah.
Now I clean the heart up, and there's not much left by the time you clean it all up. But that's usually if somebody gets one, we fry the heart up for a lunchtime or an evening, kind of like hors d'oeuvres. And I did that for my nephew Wyatt and my brother Roger. And it was one of those things, before supper down at the farm, I cooked it up and he liked it. It was something different. So that's one of our tradition. A lot of people say, "Oh, eating the heart." Well, if you've never tried it, my wife hadn't tried it until about 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah. But now she'll eat a couple bites of it too. It's not for everybody. But.
Right.
Oh, and that reminds me, Jared, I totally forgot to cut the tongue out for you.
Do you still have it?
I'm going to get the head back, but it's probably going to be a little past prime.
Oh, you dropped the whole.
Yeah. I took it to the processor.
That's all right. I got my tongue.
Yeah. Totally forgot. Sorry.
So do you guys cut up your own deer? Or
I sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends.
It depends.
I typically don't. It's been quite a while. Actually, father-in-law we cut one up. I think it was a year that I got it when Aiden was born.
Oh,
we cut that one up. So 14 years ago. And then since then, of course, I haven't got a deer every year, not like Wayne. So the few and far between that I get them, I run them to the processor.
Yeah.
So I just, I can make time, but I don't have the facility to do it in. That's nice and easy.
Right.
I need equipment. So clean. So I take it to the processor.
That's the other tradition since I was a kid. I mean, I grew up on a beef farm.
Okay.
So when I was a kid, I wanted to hunt. I really tried to love or like venison, and I ate it. My mom was an awesome cook, but my mom and dad used to cut up venison like they'd cut up beef. It'd be frozen, and you'd chisel the hide off, and you'd cut the steaks up with a bandsaw and leave the bone in, and you had that. You had to scrape that film off the roof of your mouth when you had to eat it warm. Now I debone it, and I've got a couple of really good friends that are as picky as I am, and my mom and dad, we've cut up deer ever since I can remember. My brother, I'll help him. He cuts his up, and that's today I took a half a day off. I hunted till 10 o'clock this morning, and I came in and I don't enjoy it, but it's I'm too stubborn to pay somebody else to do it, and
Yep.
I want to know that I got my own meat, and I'm pretty particular. What we throw in the frying pan, or what the roasts or the stir fry or whatever it is. I want to make sure that I know what I have,
Right.
and that to me that's kind of. And I always made my kids. My wife helps a little bit once in a while. Ruby, that was her thing. From the time she was 3 years old, I mean, she would literally cry if I didn't have her out to help me hang the deer, and help me skin the deer, and even if she didn't always help at that age, but she wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And so that there again, that's some of that work and some of that. I'd rather been sitting in the deer stand today, but we usually do that. I cut them up, and then there have been years where we've cut up a lot of deer. I don't enjoy that anymore. So if all the kids were hunting and we had 4 or 5 deer to cut up, I probably wouldn't be as interested in doing that anymore. But 1 or 2, I'll cut them up.
Right.
Yeah, that's definitely my preference too. Unless you get an early season deer,
Right, in bow season or something.
I don't have the facilities to keep it cool. While
That's what I like about this year is that I could hang that deer for a couple days.
Right.
It was nice.
And I did. I had it all skinned and ready for processing and hanging because it was cold enough.
Right.
But I couldn't, where I was hunting, I couldn't leave the zone.
Right.
For CWD reasons. So I had to drop it at a processor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
But I did see you dropped off your hide.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. And tail.
Yep.
Yeah.
In one of the boxes.
Right in downtown, the metropolis of downtown Emily, Minnesota.
Right. Yeah. That's why. I said that's where he was at.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you look closely, you can see the post office, Emily, Minnesota, in the background.
I was saying I could see the Ace Hardware back there.
Oh yeah, when I was on my face.
Yep, that's what I noticed. Yep.
I just dropped my hide off tonight in front of Harry's Bar in Hill City.
Okay.
Woodland chapter's
Yeah.
got some boxes out in numerous locations.
Yeah, there's a box out on 9 Mile by my place.
That's one of ours.
I was actually going to pull in there this morning when I came back. I was going to pull in to see if there's any hides in there. I was like, there was somebody behind me, so I kept going. But how many boxes do you guys have out? Do you know?
I think he's got 5 out.
Okay.
And now there is another box in Hill City that's out. I think the archery club has a box out too, and I feel bad. I wish I would have reached out to them because that might have been something where if we work together, maybe the proceeds
percentage,
or percentage or whatever.
Right.
But hey, they're trying to do something, and there are some hides in that one also.
Yeah.
Which is great, and that's another great thing. I don't know. A lot of people don't realize that what MDHA does with those. We've had to educate a lot of people and tell them, and we just started collecting last year. There was, I think the club years ago did it, but it's one of those things that you also have to police it. John does a very good job. We've got the gentleman over in Jacobson that collects our hides for us. He does a good job for us and keeps an eye on them. That's one of those things. If those boxes get full, we got to do something with them.
Yep.
But it's a great program, and there's a lot of money. I mean, the organization as a whole brings in a lot of money with that program.
Mm-hmm.
But what does that money go to? Because I've been hearing recently that we just pocket it.
Yeah.
No, that's
right. And we steal, and MDHA steals the hides.
Yes, we steal them.
Yeah, we steal the donated hides.
And then they pay for, I don't know, diapers or.
Yeah, right. Yep.
So I think that's my biggest expense.
All right.
No, that money is earmarked. That's a special program, and you guys probably know better than I do. But I mean, each chapter, some of that money is dedicated, but that is put in a special fund for every chapter that does this. Right. I mean, it is earmarked funds. There are very specific things that you can spend that money on,
which is habitat.
Right?
Minnesota habitat.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And from the state side of things, that has to be public lands, right? Chapter, there's a little bit more wiggle room where you all can do, some like food plot seed or apple tree programming with that, but we have to spend it on publicly accessible deer hunting land.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember the numbers from last year. Like our chapter, we just started, so it was a pretty well. I can't remember the actual numbers, so I'd be lying if I said I did. But it was hundreds of dollars. I know some chapters it's thousands of dollars, and they make an entire event out of it, and it gets better and better every year. But I remember the days when you had a deer hide. There were certain locations where you could go trade the hide for a pair of gloves.
Yep,
well,
right.
Now you can go trade the hide for a pair of gloves and spend $10 on an $8 pair of gloves. So it's, but put it in an MDHA box. That's the best thing you can do. I have nothing against the archery box in Hill City. Put it in there. Those funds are going to go to a good cause. I mean, we make a very small amount on the hides. I think we make just as much on the tails.
Yeah. It's getting close.
But it's a good program, and it's a lot of work. My hat is off to the people that spend the time. Like I said, John McManical in Hill City, he does that single-handedly for our chapter. He puts a lot of time in, a lot of effort. It's great, and it's going to grow every year. Mm-hmm. I mean, if we collected, a few hundred hides, last year, hopefully we'll double that this year.
Right.
Yep.
And it varies depending on the deer herd too.
It does.
Right.
Yep. The certain areas and the winter and everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
But consistently we're at that 20 to 25% of the statewide harvest is comes through our program.
And that's amazing. When you really think about that.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's a lot of deer taken every year.
Right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. 100 on average, 170,000, 165. Yeah. Somewhere right around there. So
whatever that math to be.
Yeah. I can't even do that.
No, but it's a lot.
It's more than 10.
It's more than 10.
More than 10.
It keeps them out of the ditches and the landfills, and it goes to a good cause.
It does go to a good cause.
I see Jared over there. He's using his fingers.
Yeah,
right. He's taking his socks off.
I thought I heard his
toes.
I thought I heard his shoes fall to the floor. So. That's cool. No, it's a great program. I'm hoping that I can drop at least one or two hides off in the hides box locally.
Right.
So we still got a lot of season left. So
that's right.
Hopefully some good weather.
We got to get out there.
We do. But I mean, I think now we can probably mention that we have the vets hunt this week.
We do.
Oh, nice.
And that's happening Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
It'll start Friday, but technically they're not hunting until Saturday and Sunday.
Correct.
So with Roger up, MDHA is doing a hunt here for 3 lady veterans.
We're going to have 3 women.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So that'll be pretty cool.
Yeah.
We're excited.
Were you guys doing that on MDHA land, or were you guys?
Yeah. Right behind the state office.
Nice.
Yeah. We got 130 acres. We got ground blinds. We got tree stands, all set up. Everything.
Yeah. We got to set up the chairs, heaters. We're taking care of them.
Yeah, we've got some cameras out. Nice. Seems like there's a lot of good deer signs. They should be.
I think they'll have a good weekend. I mean, it's going to be a little bit warmer, which is probably okay for them.
Right. Yeah. But didn't you just say we had an 8 point at like 8 a.m.?
Yeah, I think it was 8 a.m. And I know the other day when we were sitting around at 3 o'clock and we weren't seeing anything, I think the big boy came through.
Right.
Or between 3 and 4. It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
We haven't seen anything. Why are we hunting here?
Right. Well, we're saving it up. We're saving it up for the vets. So I think they're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should be good. Should be a good weekend. And then hopefully we can keep doing this year after year. You know, it's kind of our plan and open it up to even more.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some youth hunt, some vet hunt.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's a great spot to do those types of
programs. Absolutely. And that's what we should be doing. But we do have this weekend and next weekend for ourselves. I mean, we might be able to get some hunting in this weekend. Yep. We'll see how it all goes.
Doubt it, but we'll see.
Well, we can just run to my place and hunt.
That's true.
Not too far away.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because then they could call us when they get
one. And it's only 5 minutes away. Yeah. So I'm thinking that's the plan. I like that plan. Right.
We shall see.
Mm-hmm. yeah, and then we have the last weekend. So I'm hoping the weather kind of takes a dip and gets a little cooler than 40 or 50 degrees. Which
Right.
I can't stand hunting in, but give me some 20s and teens
That would be a lot better.
degrees.
Yes.
So if you're out there at deer camp or heading to deer camp, consider trying strip poker.
Wayne swears by it.
It's a tradition.
I think he called it naked poker.
Naked poker.
Naked poker.
Yeah, you don't even have to strip. You just
PG,
start
yeah. My kids, it's PG. It's naked poker.
Yeah, you start naked. When you win a hand, you get to put an article back on.
Really speeds up the game.
So remind me if we go down to Wayne's Deer Shack.
Just not first.
We're leaving early that day. As soon as he goes, yeah, it's time for poker. Okay, it's time to go home.
Yeah, my wife this year just bought a whole new set, so we had chips and everything this year.
It's getting fancy.
Yeah, it was kind of
Nice.
cool. Well, here's an idea. Of course, it's probably hard this year, but with my wife working with you guys, and you guys have kids, and not all my stands are double stands, but maybe next year, maybe we ought to plan something where you guys come down for a night and stay at the shack, and bring the kids, and I got enough stands that we can find places for everybody to sit, and
And I know you're looking at them, but does that extend to me?
that includes you.
You're going to regret that.
Yes, you are. Because he starts naked poker at 5 a.m.
I am bringing no clothing.
Yeah, no, that we may have to take you up on that.
Yeah, it would be a good time.
Yeah, that would be
No
fun.
Good time.
Yeah.
That would be really fun.
Yeah, I think the kids would enjoy it too.
Yeah, exactly. A real, true deer camp.
Right.
Right.
At least I'd like to think they would.
I mean, when we go to youth camp, we have the campers. So I mean,
Right.
that's still
It's camping.
We camp, and the camper smells like farts and wet
Right.
feet and
Yes.
just guys.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's like you walk in, it's like, dudes, y'all got to put on deodorant or go outside.
Right. Yeah, and I will say, our youth camp, I don't think is too far from Wayne.
No, it's not.
Mhm.
Another 14 miles,
Yeah. So,
if that. So yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
so yeah, it's not a big stretch.
We could arrange something.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure. So,
Well, my oldest boy is begging to go with me, but I need like a recording studio level of soundproof in that blind if I'm going to bring a 5-year-old out there with me.
Yeah.
Right.
I got a spot for you. I got a spot for you.
yeah. I remember years, and I think I've already told this story, but years ago, Aiden wanted to go bow hunting with me. So I think there was snow on the ground. It was probably November, and he's so bad at wanting to go with me. Every time I left to go hunting, he wanted to go. So I said, all right, we'll go out back, bud. So I put up the doghouse ground blind, one day, and he's got his little bow with the suction cup on the end of it. And so I bring mine, which has a broadhead, not a suction cup.
Sure.
Yeah, my Fisher Price bow. So we go out and we sit. He's all bundled up. And we're sitting in the backyard about 30 yards from the back door. And we last about an hour, which I was surprised we
That's
even lasted
impressive.
that long.
That is actually
and I
pretty
think
good.
I honestly only had to tell him maybe 2 or 3 times, but got to be quiet,
Mhm.
But plus side is the ground blind, he can move around a little bit.
Right.
So I was like, all right, that saved us. But yeah, we lasted about an hour. And then he was freezing cold. And so it's like, all right, let's go back in. I didn't bring a heater because I knew there's no point bringing a heater. We're not even going to last long enough to even get the pilot on. So, but yeah, that's what we did.
You got to do it.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
I brought Hank out to the turkey blind in August. It's not turkey season. I did not have a weapon with me. And he asked me, Daddy, where's your bow? And I was like, we don't need one during August. But we sat in the blind and just talked.
Yeah.
And it was the greatest thing in the world to him,
Oh, yeah. Well, you got to introduce them.
You do.
Young.
You do.
Let them know that it's fun.
Yep. And keep them entertained. And,
Right.
and you hear people get discouraged all the time because they're not seeing deer or whatever. Why would I bring my kid when they're not going to see deer? Yep. Seeing deer is always a positive, but just be with your kid.
Right.
Be with, your son or daughter
Introduce
and
them to the
experience
woods.
Just
that.
be with the woods.
Exactly.
Right.
Introduce them to
Like
that.
I got a nice buck this weekend.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, that's my highlight.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah.
But my second highlight was I got to play peekaboo with a chickadee for like 45 minutes because I was sitting in a ground blind because where I wanted to be, where the deer were moving, you couldn't put a stand up there. Just like this gnarly old oak tree that I was underneath. And this chickadee landed right on the little window sill of my ground blind, and then it would jump up onto the roof and crawl across and jump down to the other window, and then it was back and forth for like 45 minutes, and that was so much fun.
Had dropped tie and walked by while he was doing it.
Exactly. As he's making peekaboo eyes with this chickadee.
That very well could have happened, but I wouldn't change it.
Yeah. No, just experiencing the woods.
Well, yeah, that's definitely a big part of it.
Yep.
Getting out there, getting out of the house.
Exactly.
And sometimes for the kids, a little bit of frustration is good. You want to see them like it and earn it, but like I said earlier, I mean, there is no greater feeling for me as a father. I mean, being in the deer stand with all my children, every deer that they've shot.
Right.
I mean, there is no. I mean, I would pray to the Almighty that every year that I got to sit with them. I mean, it was I want I can go without a deer this year. Just let one come by.
Right.
Yep.
It's that feeling is worth more than anything.
Absolutely.
It's priceless. It
really
priceless.
truly is. Yeah. I know my son was going on. He kept telling mom and everybody, I think dad was more excited than me. I was like, yeah, buddy, I was.
Yeah.
Bragging rights.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I think he's got a bigger one than dad does.
That's unfortunately true.
Yeah. Well, I've
Fortunately.
a few days, without Aiden, and it's like, or a few times, and it's like, unless it's a big buck, I'm going to let it walk for right now because I want him to get a deer.
Right.
First and foremost, no matter what it is, a doe or a buck or anything. So I'll be a little bit more choosy, because do I need two deer?
Well, yeah, I like it, but he can bring in some meat.
Yeah, exactly.
We can hunt for what we want.
Yep. Then we can be a little bit more picky.
Well, that was when Ruby shot her big one. We were sitting not in the redneck. It was a stand that's a lot smaller and wide open, so it was a little cooler. But I saw the buck coming from south of my cabin out of Blandon land, and it was cold. It was snowing. I seen him coming. I knew what he was, and I told her, "Get ready. He's coming. Get the gun out." She said, I can't see him, Dad. And I said, just get ready. He's coming. Well, as she's getting ready, she doesn't see him yet. She's looking out to the north, and I'm thinking, I'm going to let her shoot first, but I got down.
Got the backup ready.
Yeah, I got down beside her, and my gun's out the window, and I see her kind of turn and give me that look like, it's not a small one, is it? But she didn't say it, and and then she heard my safety go off, and I told her, I said, no, he's coming. I said, I'm going to stop him, and I let out a really big, and because I had asked her, I said, are you on him? Yeah. And I did that. And this buck is walking. I mean, he walked 500 yards. If it would have been me in the stand, he would have been on a dead run. When I did that, he stopped. He looked our direction, and she didn't shoot. And he started walking again. I'm like, Ruby, you got to kill him. And I did it again. And he stopped and then bang, she shot, and then I shot too. And afterwards, he went down in the field, and we're looking. And of course, when you can see horns at over 200 yards, and I'm like, I looked at her and I said, you don't know what you just did. And she said, I wasn't nervous until I heard your safety go off. She said, because all the other times, she says, you haven't even picked up your gun. She said, I knew it wasn't a small one when you picked your gun up.
Dad's not letting this one go.
No, one way or another, we're throwing a lot of lead here.
That's funny.
That is awesome. Mm-hmm. Gotta love it.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I feel like I should say for anybody listening, when we mention Blandon land, that is public land up here. It's paper mill land that we are allowed to hunt on. So when you hear us say Blandon land, just think public land.
Correct.
Because I know we've said it a few times.
Yeah.
No. Thank you for the clarification.
I'm
job.
assuming people around here don't
so
know what that is.
responsible.
I'm just
He
saying,
is.
I know what it is. We all know what it is. We grew up with it, but there's probably people even in other parts of Minnesota that don't know what it is.
Right.
And years ago, you could build permanent stands on Bland,
Right.
and you cannot do that anymore.
Right.
Yep.
But you are allowed to hunt it like public land nowadays.
Right. And there's a lot of it.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, just down
That's what
there,
we hunt by my house.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
down there by where I'm at. There, I mean,
Right.
you can go all the way to 9 Mile
Right.
up
Yeah.
behind
down
my
there.
cabin.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, and there's a lot of property, and there's some good hunting area in there.
Yep.
Oh, for sure.
It's just you have to do some research.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Cool beans.
Well,
We're at an hour 20.
yeah, we're at pretty good time.
So I think that's pretty good for our first deer camp episode.
I think so too.
Unless there's anything you want to add.
Anything you want to add about deer camp, Wayne?
Well, it's
MDHA?
not. Yeah, it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
There is one thing I know. I think you guys all have tickets, but our chapter did something pretty cool. We raffled off a redneck hunting blind,
Mhm.
and
I
we
did not win.
Right.
You
And,
did
and
not.
we actually, Dean had 2 Henry rifles. One we gave away that night. It's engraved with MDHA and our Woodland chapter logo. There is another one going to be given away this next Saturday. The Moose
Yeah.
Willow Sportsman Club. They've been so good to our chapter. They've supported us, especially since I've taken over down there. They've been great to us. So we actually sponsored a gun, and it's one of those engraved guns. And that will, they're going to give that away next Saturday night, I think at 8:00 down at the Corner Club south of Hill City.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know there's still a few tickets floating around
I got a
out there.
couple. Yeah.
Yeah,
I do too.
it's a good cause. That club, they do a lot for the youth. They support youth trap shooting. They're very involved with the community, and they have been absolutely awesome for the local MDHA
Absolutely.
chapter. So if there are some tickets around, I know most of the gas stations around have them, and it'd be great to support them.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're giving away some great guns. Yeah.
Yeah. And I will also add that is Moose Willow is where the Long Lake Forkhorn campers go to do their range
Range
certification.
Mhm.
So
And I've been there a couple of times
Yeah.
and volunteered to help out at that. So yeah, the last time I did it, I think they brought 3 buses of kids in.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's awesome.
yeah, I was fortunate enough to be there for one of them, and they got a good system. It's a great organization, great club.
Mm-hmm. So get out there and find those raffle tickets and buy a couple.
Yeah.
You can win some
Right.
sweet guns.
Very cool.
I need to win another one.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, they had some nice ones on
Yeah,
there.
they sure
Yeah,
did.
all
Bunch of
Tikas.
Tikas.
All
Yeah,
Tikas.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Other than the Henry.
They had,
Right,
yeah,
right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty
Solid.
cool program. Well, if anybody has any deer camp stories,
Yeah, share them with us. Or
Share 'em,
if
yeah.
you got something really awesome, let us know. Maybe you could be on an episode of the Deer Camp episode.
yeah,
I mean, I know we're going to do another one, maybe another one after that, but
Right. You gotta top naked poker though.
yeah,
you do have
If
to
you can
right?
beat naked poker, reach out.
right.
My wife's going to kill me.
Yeah, more likely. More
Yeah.
likely. Otherwise, but be sure to send us photos of your harvest, not naked poker. I know Wayne started laughing right when I said that. So
Yeah, that was
No naked poker
suboptimal
pictures.
timing.
right.
I'm going right to the cabin. I'm not going home.
But yeah,
Send us your pictures of naked poker.
Send us pictures of your harvest, your deer
Camp.
deer camp.
Yeah.
Any like classic photos would be cool
Oh, I love
too.
them.
Yeah,
Of, a bunch of deer hanging on the pole and whatnot.
Right.
I got a great one of my dad peeking out of the shitter.
There you
I
go.
want to see that
Yes.
one. I'm going to use
Yep.
it for the cover of this episode.
And that would be cool. Yeah. So tune in next time for hopefully we'll have Deer Camp 2.
Yeah, some more stories.
More stories.
Awesome.
Love it.
Well, thanks, Wayne.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Wayne.
Thanks, guys.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association has been building our hunting and conservation legacy over the past 40 plus years through habitat, education, advocacy, and legislation in Minnesota for Minnesota.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association and wolf.report proudly sponsor this podcast. However, please note that the opinions, topics, and guests featured may not necessarily align with the views, beliefs, goals, or mission of our sponsors.